All right, students. So we are now moving to study about the ladder logic for the interlocking circuit, and it has very high amount of like applications. For example, if you want to turn a motor in clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. So the first thing is that the motor can only be turned in one direction, and if someone by mistake press the button, for example, simultaneously both buttons, so what would happen that the motor would be in a lot of stress, and the bearings and the internal cage of the motor will be totally destroyed, right? So this is one of the applications of interlocking, so that it only allows the machine to perform certain behavior with restricting the other behavior. So over here, just to understand these logic, we have two outputs over here. For example, keeping in view of the same application, we can say that this Y out is my motor rotation in clockwise direction, and this Y1 is my motor rotation in anti-clockwise direction. The respective buttons that I have, push buttons, is X0 and X2, which are the buttons for allowing the motor to rotate. If I press X0, then it means that I'm trying to rotate it in clockwise, and for X2, it's anti-clockwise, right? So we will do the same analysis. We'll go to the simulation mode. We'll just compile the code, and we will try to analyze how would it behave, right? I'll turn the PLC on. Yep, over here. The first thing before we go ahead is that this X1 is same over here. And this X1 right now represents the power supply to the circuit. If the power supply is deducted, then only it allows to work. I'll show you with like moving. Like for example, if this is my motor and I want to rotate in clockwise, I'll just quickly turn it on. So my motor has started to rotate in clockwise direction. Makes sense, makes perfectly fine. Now some other student came to the same experiment and by mistake pressed this X2 button, which says to turn motor in anti-clockwise direction. And if this would happen, that will destroy or the motor, that will like put extra stress on the bearing of the motor. So irrespective of this student turning it on or turning it off, your output is locked. It's interlocked and it won't allow you to turn it in the opposite direction. That's the protection for the motor, which this circuit, this ladder logic provides, right? So the only way you can go and turn this motor in the other direction is that these two power buttons, which is a single contact, you need to first make sure that power is disconnected, right? Once the power is disconnected, once the power is disconnected, and again you power on that circuit, then if you apply the push button in the second input, then it will allow the motor to turn in the anti-clockwise direction. And now if you try to like by mistake push the clockwise direction, it won't work. You can see that it won't turn this on high. And the motor will keep on rotating in anti-clockwise direction. So again, if you want to turn it in the other mode, you first need to disconnect this power buttons, right? And then again reset by these power buttons and then do whatever you want. So this is how you can like latch using a push button. There's a latching established as well, and there is an interlocking established as well, so that your motor is protected in turning in both directions at the same time. It can have numerous other applications as well. The motor one is like a quite common one. So yeah, I just quoted that one so that you can understand it clearly. Thank you so much.